Good evening, everyone. It is a gorgeous night. Sun's going down, the heat's dropping a little bit, and the humidity is down quite a bit. I just wanted to make a quick video. Two instances where you should plan to give your cattle a little bit more space for that day than what they normally get. And actually right now we have those two instances going on at the exact same time. So it's about, it's probably about 7 o'clock in the evening, and they actually just got tomorrow's chunk. So they are definitely getting a large area. I came down to check on the herd. Two of the cows were out. They had busted out of the wire. A lot of that, I think, was just because they were hungry. They were looking for the good stuff because they've been flying through. Looks like he's getting in a fight with something down there. They've been flying through the paddocks. So the two instances that I've been finding, one of them's pretty obvious, and that's really wet conditions. And we've had a lot of rain over the last couple days. I mean, we're talking probably about 4 inches, and we actually have more coming tomorrow night. But really wet conditions, really swampy pasture conditions, that's going to require a bigger space for your animals. One, just because that animal impact is going to be a lot greater on the land when the ground is really soft. So it makes sense. Confined to a smaller area, they're really going to beat up that small area if the ground is really wet. Like Greg Judy always says, cows will eat with 5 mouths. They're 1 true mouth and they're 4 hooves. When it's really wet, they definitely waste a lot more of the pasture, simply because everything that they're stepping on now is getting pressed into the earth, pressed into the mud, and it might not pop back up for them to graze. And if it does pop up, it might be full of mud. So we have that going on right now. The other thing that I have found that they really do need some increased room is when one or all of the girls are in heat. The number 2, the dun Dexter right here in front of me, she's actually in heat right now. And this is her second heat cycle. I think the first heat cycle she had wasn't a true heat cycle. It was just her coming back into a hormonal balance after she had her calf, which was about 40 days, which is awesome. That period that they I don't know if you guys could see that. So I've been charging the electric fence. He was getting zapped, but he just kept on going. I think he's not heavy enough. Hey, bud. I think he's just not heavy enough to get a good shock. But I could hear it snapping, and he was jolting. But he went ahead and walked through anyway. I had problems with the other calves starting to bust out because he was busting out, so they just followed him. And I came home this morning, and one of the perimeter wires was down. Yeah, he's getting zapped. So this is what he must have done yesterday. Oh, it's frustrating. I'm gonna have to chase him over. Sorry, let's take a quick little break in the video to get him sent back over. No, do not. Right there. This is what I've been dealing with. Now your turn, number 2. You dang bulls. You do whatever the heck you want. Come on. That, and they love playing King of the Hill. So they've all been wanting to play on this, oh my goodness. they've all been wanting to play on this compost pile. Gosh, you guys. So anyway, I came home this morning. The perimeter fence was down because that bull calf went ahead and ran through, knocked it down, let everyone out. So I decided to go ahead and start charging the electric fence, and yeah, like you guys saw, he was getting zapped. It just wasn't enough to keep him in. Okay. These three have formed a little gang, and they're just hooligans, man. You know, we've only ever had single calves out here. 2 years in a row, we just only had one calf, and they integrate into the herd pretty well. They really just kind of blend in to the herd really well. And this year, because we have three, sorry, I'm watching last year's calf. She was out. She was the one that was out when I came down this evening. Do not go anywhere. Anyway, give me 1 second. I'm going to retighten that fence. I'll be back with you. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, that's been my dilemma right there. You guys just saw it, to where I haven't been charging the electric wire because that brand new calf is not heavy enough to get a good shock to keep him from crossing under that wire. But he obviously was getting hit enough that he really didn't want to come back through. Even with me putting a little bit of pressure on him, he really didn't want to push back through that wire. So, you know, he does that overnight, and now he is outside the wire and he is exposed to the predators that we have move through the area every night. Or he does that when I leave for a 24-hour shift, and now he can't get back in to nurse. I mean, I've seen it before where the calves get out, they don't know how to get back in. I come home in the morning and mama is bawling, baby is bawling, and as soon as I get them reunited, they go straight for the udder. So they obviously have been out for a while and they were not getting enough to eat. So that's been my dilemma. You know, when these two were born, it was early April. The grass was not as tall as it is now. And we were still kind of doing this spring lockup area to where they had a large area like they have now. And so they just naturally curious, they just went up and would touch their nose to the electric wire, and they got hit really, really good at a really young age. Again, because the grass was short, they were making more of a ground contact, and they learned pretty quickly that that is not something you want to mess with. He obviously is still pretty small. And what's up, number two? He obviously is still pretty small, and the grass is very, very long, and so he's just not getting that big of a hit to let him know that he should not be crossing that wire. But again, we're getting to the point now where, because he was out, these two calves were starting to also run under the wire. They were losing that respect for the wire. And between the three of these calves coming and going, they were starting to knock down my perimeter fence. Where was I? Oh, yes, that dun Dexter being in heat. So what I was about to say before he started causing trouble was that period after they have a calf, before they start to cycle again, is known as, you know, their anestrus period. So I've talked about it before. You can go anywhere. I mean, they supposedly say some dairy cows can have a short anestrus period of like 15 days. Some breeds will go 30, 60, even 90 days. And they do say that the quicker that your cow kind of starts to return to a normal cycle, the healthier she is. You know, hormonally, she's in good shape. She's getting everything she needs, minerals, nutrition, you know, protein, energy, all that stuff. So that dun Dexter at about 40 days anestrus, or 40 days after she had her calf, one of these two hoodlums right here, she had her first cleansing cycle. So it wasn't a true heat cycle, but she was definitely, you know, shedding an egg or starting to kind of get back into that reproductive state. So that was really good to see. And actually the other cow, the number 3 cow, at just a few days later had her first cleansing cycle as well. So both those girls had a very short estrus period. I was very happy to see that. But the point I was making with that is she's been in heat all day. And so between her trying to mount the other cows and Big Mac, the red steer, trying to mount her, they have been doing a lot of chasing. So this area that I gave them this morning, again, about 2,000 square feet, they've been destroying it. There was just a lot of trampling going on. So normally that would mean an increased area needed for the animals that day, just because they are going to really waste a lot more of the pasture strip that they were given for that day. They were really hungry. Again, that's why I went ahead and gave them tomorrow's chunk tonight. Oh, they have been eating nonstop. And as you can see, they're getting some really good nutrition here. I always enjoy watching the cows get the good grass like this. And then you'll also see them go and get the seed heads, kind of like she's doing right there. See, she's grazing really, really high. She's taking off those seed heads. So yeah, for anyone out there who's, you know, getting new into cattle or getting new into, intensively managing their herd, those are just, God, buddy, those are just 2 things to think about. I am really happy to see, though, that these 2 have 0 problem with that new calf. You know, you do read sometimes about calves coming months later, and there's just that age difference, and you know, the new calf gets bullied or excluded. It just doesn't integrate into the herd as easily if there's a bunch of other calves that are, you know, 20, 40, 60 days older than it. But these 3, they've been almost inseparable. They do everything together. Try it, buddy. Try it. Put your nose on it. Come on, put your nose on it. Ooh, that one just got hit. I think, like I said, these calves just kind of lost respect for it. I think they either forgot or they stopped caring that this used to zap them since I had it turned off. So they were just coming and going however they pleased. And they're kind of getting back into the realization that that wire's going to hit them if they try and touch it. So we just need to get him broken on it. All right, little buddy. All right, guys, that's all I had. Questions, comments, sarcastic remarks, you know the drill. Let me know. You're doing good, mama. Two for 2 on red bulls. Red bulls that have a heck of a personality and, quite frankly, do whatever they want. I suppose that's what happens when you're the herd leader. All right, we'll catch you guys at the next one.